Hello guys, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing great. It's your teacher Abdulmoti Diab, or simply Moti for short. For this video, we're going to talk about the SAT. Let's move on. Let's start with a general insight. We won't go for this part through a lot of details. We will just go through some of your questions and some of the basic information that you have to know before going through the detailed insight in the part 2. What is the SAT? The SAT is a multiple choice paper-based test created and administered by the College Board. Let's move to the pen. Actually, this name, you have to be familiar with this name, guys. You will encounter it in almost every exam and almost every practice test you're going to take in the future. For now, let's just remember this name. We're going to talk about it in details in the upcoming slides. The purpose of the SAT is simply to measure a student's readiness. It's not readiness for college. Yes, because actually some of the students might want to go to the university without taking a preparation test like the SAT or many other tests. Actually, this is really wrong, because when you go to the university and you're not prepared, you're not ready, you haven't you don't have enough knowledge and the basic information to help you in the college, you will face a lot of problems. Actually, guys, you have to be really prepared, and you have to make sure that you're ready for the college, and the SAT does exactly what I've mentioned. Let's move on. Common questions. What is the score range? Actually, the score range is from 400 to 106. 1,600. 400 is the least the least score you could get, even if you just put your name and leave. There are 4 sections. I've just spoiled something. Yeah, I've spoiled an upcoming piece of information, actually. But there are 4 sections in the SAT. For each section, there is a 100 score you can get without solving any correct answers, just by writing your name. So the answer goes from 400 to 1,600 for the SAT. Let's move on. Okay, no problem. Can I repeat the SAT exam? Actually, yes, that's a good point. That's an advantage in the SAT. You can repeat it. Unlike many other exams, that it is like this one life opportunity, you can take it like one time a year. No, the SAT could be repeated many times a year. Many of you might ask how many times. I'll talk about the times, how many times you could repeat the SAT in the upcoming slide. How hard is the SAT? Well, actually, also, unlike other exams, SAT is fairly simple. Like the preparation duration is almost like, let's say, about 4 months for almost like all the courses. It is really close to 3-4 months, unlike other exams. I don't want to mention names, but many exams require 1 year of preparing to pass it. And unfortunately, many people prepare for 1 year and don't pass other hard exams. For the SAT, I'm not saying it is just a piece of cake or something. No, you need to work hard. You need to just focus a lot. You need to be working and putting a lot of effort into studying and preparing. But if you just know the tricks and work and do a lot of practice tests, I think you will be just absolutely fine. Let's move on. What are the registration dates and deadlines? What is the price range? Where do I take this exam? And how do I register for the SAT? These are really common questions actually, and the answer is College Board. As I mentioned, I told you to remember that name, right, guys? College Board is the website, or like the authority that administers everything related to the SAT. For example, here, where do I register? How do I register for the SAT? On the website. Where do I take this exam? There's something called test centers. They're all in details and on the College Board. You won't be able to find test centers on like in small cities, but in capital cities, like for example here in Turkey, Istanbul, Ankara, and like Izmir, you will surely find. But you have to take into consideration that you have to just register a little bit early, because they fill up real quickly. Sometimes you're prepared and like you're doing all your best, and suddenly you just open the website to register and there's no seats, or all of the seats are full. So you have to take this point into consideration, guys. What is the price range? It is changing, and especially everything is changing due to this pandemic, the coronavirus. But everything in details on the College Board. What are the registration dates and deadlines also on the College Board, because especially this part is changing a lot. They're adding online tests, I think, and like it is changing rapidly. So on the College Board, everything will be clear, hopefully. Let's start with some details. Time. The test will last 3 hours with breaks between the sections. Yes, if we just count the time that you will have your pen and paper in front of you, it is actually 3 hours exactly, but you're going to be there for much longer actually. You're going to go there early, wait in a queue, then just have 2 breaks. Yeah, have 2 breaks between sections. And like it is gonna take maybe 4 hours, 5 hours or something, but the exam date that it is like the pure exam date is only 3 hours. Don't mix between the two. This is really crucial, guys. Don't mix up between the SAT, this SAT, it is called the new SAT, and the old SAT. Actually, the SAT in maybe 2017 was changed. Another authority took it and and another authority started to administering it actually, and like caring and taking everything related to the SAT. The College Board, before the College Board, I don't know the name, but it was just a completely another authority with completely different ideas and like different question types and different, like really different actually. What is really different about the old SAT? It has 5 choices. Let me choose the pen. It has 5 choices instead of 4. In the new SAT, we have only 4 choices: A, B, C, D. In the old SAT, we had E as a 5th choice. And the full score is a total of 2,400 instead of 1,600. I was shocked. Like one time, my friend told me that he got a 1,600 score. And like he wasn't the best actually. Like he was just normal. He wasn't a native speaker. He didn't study in a international school or something, and he got 1,600. But the thing is that he took it in the old SAT, and so his score is really bad compared to this full score. He didn't get the full mark in the new SAT. Why am I telling you this, guys? Why am I telling you to differentiate between the old and the new? Actually, because the ideas are really different. I don't want you to go to previous tests and previous exams, like practice tests and questions, and solve them. We really want to just focus on the new SAT, the new SAT's questions and practice tests. Whenever you see 5 choices like A, B, C, D, and E, just leave that practice test immediately and go and find yourself a test that has only 4 choices. Let's move on to the important, probably more important than the old SAT, the subject tests. Not every test that you see that includes 4 choices is the SAT. Some of the tests, actually a lot of students think that the SAT has like chemistry or biology or like physics or something. No, actually these are subject tests. They test one subject. The SAT has, like I told you, 2 main sections. The math, I'm spoiling upcoming information again, the math and the English, but and like each section is 800 score, 800 points together. They are 1,600. But for the subject test, the full mark is 800. It is only related to one subject. For example, subject tests, the SAT math subject test, the SAT physics subject test, the SAT biology subject test. For some universities, they are so rare. They ask for a subject test. For example, here in Turkey, one university asked for the math subject test, and some medical schools, they ask about the biology subject tests. Yeah, that's simply it. Just please, guys, I don't want you to mix up between these two, because they do look familiar a lot. Let's move on for this detailed insight.